Hi everybody, my name is Mason Brown. I am an Assistant Director of Admission at Rhodes College. I'm also an alum of Rhodes, so I'm excited to welcome you all today to our virtual panel, which is something new and exciting for us that we're trying out. So today we have a couple current students here with us who are just going to answer a few questions that are typically asked of panelists. I'm going to ask them to them, and a few of them will take turns answering them, and we'll just go from there. So we'll start with introductions so that you all get a sense of who these answers are coming from, and we'll just kick it off with questions afterwards. So, Abby, you want to start?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Abby Rubens. I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana. I'm currently a sophomore. I'm majoring in computer science, and a couple things that I do around campus. I'm on the Rhodes women's soccer team, and I'm also a member of Greek Life, and I'm in Catholic Student Association.
Hey all, nice to meet you. My name is Vindia Pasapaletti. I'm from Denver, Colorado. I am currently a junior this year. My majors right now are neuroscience and health equity, and a couple things I'm involved in on campus. There is this community service hub on campus called Kenny, and so I'm involved in that, Kenny Hunger Homelessness, and off campus I'm a volunteer REP, which is Refugee Empowerment Program.
Hey y'all, I'm Shriva Rajan. I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. I'm a senior. I'm a biology and health equity major, and a couple things I do on campus is Globe Med, and that's an organization, it's like a social justice awareness organization that works with global health issues.
My name is Keith Harrison. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, and I'm a finance major. On campus, I'm involved in the Rhodes College track and field team, and I'm a member of Sigma Nu fraternity.
I'm Hardy DeMaranville. I'm from Mobile, Alabama. I'm a sophomore, math econ major with stats minor. On campus, I work in the admissions office for the last 2 years, and I'm going to be an RA next year.
Oh, I didn't know that. Congrats.
Yeah.
Woo. Okay. Well, we're going to kick it off with kind of a softball question. So what made you all choose Rhodes? And we don't have to have everyone answer, but if you all have a pretty memorable or distinctive story.
I can go.
Mhm.
I really liked the Bridge Street newspaper. So I'm from Memphis, and I was obsessed with Rhodes, and I just didn't think I could come here because of the financial aid, but then I got the day scholarship, which really helped me come here. So if you're from Memphis, definitely check out the day scholarship, and that helped me come to Rhodes. And there was someone part of the admissions team called Bud Ritchie. He really just enhanced my college experience, and told me what all I could do at Rhodes, and so that just kind of made me really want to come here. And they also write you this letter, admissions writes you this letter just specified to your essay, and that was really cool because I thought my essay was pretty well written. Yeah.
For me, I was just looking at similar colleges in this area in North and South Carolina, and I just went on campus of all of them, and I just felt more at home here than anywhere else. Nothing no wild story, but just comfort and knowing I was where I was supposed to be, I think was the thing for me.
For any seniors that may be watching this and they're trying to kind of whittle down their decisions and the options that they have, was there one kind of deciding factor where you all ended up choosing Rhodes? I know you talked about the day scholarship. Anyone else?
For me, it was just the honesty that I was greeted with when I came here. I was an athletic recruit, and so I, have other friends who were pursuing collegiate athletics, and they sort of told me, you're probably going to get a pre-prepared spiel. They're going to talk about all the same things. And when I actually came down here, it was not like that at all. Everyone was very candid and honest with me about everything they liked, things that they wished could be a bit better at the time, things that they were improving in ways they were trying to make the school better. And just that level of genuine honesty and the comfort I had in knowing that they weren't just giving me a pre-prepared script to try to get me to come here as soon as possible really filled me with a lot of trust in this community.
I think one deciding factor that I found when I was choosing between Rhodes and I was looking at other bigger universities, that Rhodes felt like they cared about me as an individual. And it was not just I was another number within a large group of people that's going to get a good higher education. I was a person that deserved to have this, not deserved, but had the opportunity to cultivate my learning specific to me. And I thought that was really important.
Awesome. And for those of you who don't know, the majority of our students do not come from Tennessee. Actually, only about 10% of our students come from the Memphis area. The average student drives about 450 miles to get to Rhodes. So Can you all talk a little bit about that transition, moving away from home, moving into the dorms, kind of what that initial few weeks looked like?
It was like fun and stressful at the same time for me. You know, like you're moving away from home for the first time, for most of us at least. You know, I'm coming 6.5 hours away, driving, kind of on my own. But I think welcome week and then like over the summer doing open roads does a good job of like getting you ready for like road specific stuff. So like, you know, say you do get homesick, like you're not also like super worried about road stuff. It's just kind of like, you know, everyone's going to be stressed when they first move into college. It's a new experience. But I think we do a good job of preparing people through like just the welcome week stuff, because the welcome week is great here. Like,
Can you explain what that is?
so first week on campus, freshmen get here a little bit earlier, and they basically have a week where they're introduced to campus through like PAs, which are peer assistants, sorry. And they just kind of walk everyone through stuff, and there's tons of events. I know, like, we had a magician come to ours. I don't know about y'all, but yeah, it was fun. It was just like random stuff like that, and it's just like to help everyone kind of de-stress a little bit. I think we do a good job.
And then does anyone want to explain what Open Roads is and where?
Yeah, sure. Open Roads is this program they offer during the summer. They have several sessions of it. It lasts 2 to 3 days. And so the idea of it is that being a freshman in college and moving away from home is very stressful, and you want to make sure that you have people that you can count on once you get to campus. And so they take different pools of people, whoever can sign up for whichever slot. And it's usually, I guess, around 300 per slot or something like that.
About a quarter of the class.
So maybe like 125, but it's just a bunch of people that you get to bond with and do activities together. So that way you get to meet people and make friends and make connections before you ever step onto campus for your freshman year. So that way when you do step onto campus for your freshman year, you have a better idea of who your roommate might be, where your circle of friends are, who you gel with and who you do not gel with, what activities you might want to get involved with, just through what everyone else is getting involved around. So it's a much softer landing, it's a much easier entry than just coming in cold. And it really takes a lot of the pressure and stress off of you when you're trying to move in and adjust yourself in all these other sorts of ways that it's another thing you don't have to think about.
Right.
And the most important part of Open Roads, which you may have mentioned this, but it happens in June for all admitted students who are coming to Rhodes. The most important part of Open Roads is that you get to meet with your advisor, and they help you set up your class schedule for the upcoming year. And it's kind of nice that it happens in June because you stay in the dorms. It may not be your dorm, but you stay in the dorms, and so you get a sense of, okay, this is what I need to bring, this is how much space I have.
Yeah.
And then you go back home, and then you come back in August for welcome week, that sort of thing. So that's a little bit about kind of the social transition. What about academics? Can you all talk a little bit about what your academic transition was to Rhodes and maybe how it was different than high school, what high schoolers can expect?
Yeah, I can definitely speak to that. So coming in, my high school was a little bit bigger than Rhodes, so I didn't know exactly what classes were going to look like. But then I think something that I really actually like enjoy and really appreciate about Rhodes is the class sizes and how active professors are in our education, you know. And so I think what the number is, like 14 students
Average, 14.
Average. Yeah, so I would definitely say that's something that like I would highlight about Rhodes. I think coming in before my high school was a little bit like class sizes were a little bit bigger, and although I could like go and talk to teachers about questions or anything that I had, it wasn't as I wasn't as involved, I feel like. But then coming in and talking to a lot of professors, they're so passionate about everything that they teach. Like this semester I'm in with classes where a lot of professors, like there's this one philosophy class that I'm in for my neuro major, and my professor, like that's her research, and so she'll talk about all of her like study abroad experiences in Australia that she did a research in, and then she'll talk about it and like bring it into class. And so if you go into like professor office hours, like we'll just hear like a story about how she even got here. And so it's like absolutely amazing to have that kind of like life advice, academic advice, and just like know that someone's so involved in your academic experience as well.
So it didn't feel too overwhelmingly small when you came from a bigger high school?
No, at first I was worried about that, but I feel like it definitely turned out in my benefit. So.
What about you guys?
I mean,
What I was going to say is the biggest transition I noticed, I went to a high school very similar to Rhodes in terms of class size and sort of feel of the classroom, but the biggest thing I noticed was that Rhodes professors, at least in the business department and a lot of other departments I've taken classes in, have a lot of practical professional experience. They're not just academics. So a lot of times, if you're getting taught accounting, you're getting taught by an accountant. So they will tell you the things that you absolutely need to know, and they'll make sure that you have all the practical knowledge that employers are looking for. But it's not just they're teaching you from a textbook and you're going to forget half of the things later. They want to make sure that everything they're teaching you is absolutely essential and they're not giving you any fluff or filler.
What about like workload? Do you want to speak to that?
Workload. Well, I came from a smaller high school, so my experience was a little different. I was still going to a bigger school than I was used to. But workload-wise, it's really obviously it depends on your high school and like what kind of student you were in high school. But for me, it wasn't that drastic. It was a pretty small change. I know like different. Obviously, like if you take like intro bio, it's going to be more than like for me. But you know, it's all different based on like what you want to do and what you did in high school. For me, it wasn't that bad. You know, like maybe homework every class at the most, and like it's usually not much. Like I feel like it's very manageable. And I was working a job in admissions too, and like just being a freshman in general. So I think workload is definitely for sure manageable.
And like we talked about, you have that advisor who helps you put together
Right.
the schedule, so they're never going to throw you into a class that you shouldn't be
Exactly.
in. So hopefully that helps with the workload. Okay. Well, what are some, keeping it with academics, we have some students that have declared a major. You haven't put in the paperwork just
No.
yet? You have? Okay. Well, I know a lot of high school students are a little bit anxious about feeling like they need to come in with a major or having decided that before they even come to college. Can you all talk a little bit about the process of choosing your major and if that changed, if you came in with one, that sort of thing?
Yeah, I could definitely talk about that. I came in thinking that I was going to be an engineer. I wanted to do the 3-2 program with Rhodes College, and then Rhodes partners with other universities that you can further go into more specific engineering classes. And I came into Rhodes thinking that I was going to be a physics major, and I took the 2 first physics classes, and I just did not enjoy it as much as I wish I had. And luckily, I was taking a lot of other classes because Rhodes is a liberal arts college. You need to fulfill all the broad education, and so we have the opportunity to take all these different types of classes, and that's where I found my major. I am majoring in computer science right now. I had never taken a computer science class. I honestly don't think I'm that good at computers, but I've been surprising myself, and I enjoy it a lot. And it's something that would not have come about if I did not have the opportunity to study a broad range of classes.
And had gone straight into an engineering program
Yes.
or something. Yeah.
Yes.
What about you guys?
Yeah, that's a good story because I think I came in being like really hardcore psychology neuro. And then I ended up taking, for liberal arts, I ended up taking an intro urban studies class, and I did not, and everyone's always like, intro urban studies, and you don't really know what that is. And then I'm in this class, and I'm like, oh my God, I love this class. And we're talking about like social issues in the Memphis area, and like if y'all come here, you'll know how involved students on campus are in the Memphis area. And so I absolutely love that class, and it got me like so many different things. It made me not change my major, but add a major. So now I'm like urban studies, health equity. And it also like gave me such a big community, in so many different aspects. Like, yes, the students, urban studies, yay. We had like an urban studies picnic like a few weeks ago, and just seeing all the professors and students there was just so like iconic, honestly. And it just felt so comforting to be there and have so many different like voices in the room who you're usually seeing in classes. And the other element was professors. I got my advisor through that for my health equity major, and she's absolutely like changed my life and really like guided me in how my career through public health might be able to help me with my major. And
Yeah, I'm similar, but I think for me, I came in wanting to be a neuro major, and like I cannot see myself doing that at all now. Like I took my first intro neuro class, and I was like, oh, this is not for me. The professor is amazing, but I just was like not my work ethic, and like I was just genuinely not into it. But it is a great major. But yeah, I ended up changing my major like 3 times, so it's totally okay to change and like think about it. And I think one of the amazing things about Rhodes, and I think other liberal arts colleges do this, but like the foundational credits or the F credits, where you can still be a major in like say business or biology and take like art. And I'm like really into art, so like I think that you can really make it an experience even if you choose a major that is like say computer science. You can still do like art or like music. So it's very interdisciplinary.
Yeah, and it's important to know that you don't have to declare a major until the end of your sophomore year, around this time of your sophomore year, around spring break, I would say. And so when they're talking about I changed my major 3 times, that might be in their head more than on paper. So it's not as stressful as it may seem.
Yes.
I know I was in the same boat. Keith, you came in pretty much decided, right?
I was actually came in as a philosophy major.
Oh, then I lied.
But I was dead set on being that and doing a lot of either that or English and creative writing. But I ended up taking a English class that actually had a finance component to it. That ended up switching me over to finance, which if nothing else speaks to like the culture here at Rhodes College, where you have classes that hit on 3 or 4 different majors or departments, and you can just end up in the course of 45 minutes saying, okay, it's time for me to pursue this now.
Yeah.
So that was
I came in dead set, if that helps.
Okay, yes,
You were the wrong person. No, so I knew coming in I want to do math econ, and I think obviously it's nice to have these opportunities, and I think for me it's nice too because I get to experience like other departments, but like even though I am still set on what I want to do, but it does allow me the opportunity if I wanted to graduate early. I'm not going to because I like it here, but like but I could graduate early because I was able to like come in knowing what I wanted to do, could take a couple classes in my major, a couple classes outside of my major, and kind of like as I went through just like build up on both sides and just kind of like have that experience of like the liberal arts college experience, and then also like focusing on my major and what I want to do in the future.
Can you talk about any classes that you were pleasantly surprised by that maybe weren't in math or econ?
Right now, I'm pleasantly surprised by my German fairy tales class.
Oh,
I've heard about this class.
So
Me too.
I don't like to read, and so I was like, okay, I'm not taking intro like English because I don't like to read. So I'm gonna take German fairy tales. That seems like an easier thing to read. And I got into this class, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna like be there, listen, have a good time, not really care. But I'm actually like invested in this class now because it's really interesting, and Professor Bridges is really good too. I don't know if I've heard of her, but yeah, it's really fun. But also, I really love Search. I was really passionate about that for the first 3 semesters.
Awesome. So kind of switching gears, so now we've been talking a lot about academics kind of on campus and the classroom experience. What's unique about Rhodes is that there's maybe only a handful of liberal arts colleges in the country that fit the criteria of being a small liberal arts school in the heart of a major city. Rhodes is, I think, the only one in the South at least. There's maybe a handful of them. And so that's really distinctive to Rhodes, the fact that we are dead set in the middle of this great city of Memphis. So let's switch gears and talk a little bit about what you guys have done off campus in terms of service, research, or internships. Then we'll get to study abroad later, but anything that y'all want to talk about in terms of how you got those opportunities and what that experience was like?
Well, so I am a senior, and so I've done a lot of different internships throughout my like Rhodes experience. And one that like really stands out to me is the St. Jude Summer Plus experience that like so many like Rhodes students, like alumni, have talked to me about. And so that was a really great experience. So basically it's 2 summers and then a year where you work at St. Jude.
And we're the only undergraduate school that's allowed to send students to do research there. So it's a really cool
It's
opportunity.
really amazing. And that really just like has helped me with like postgraduate opportunities as well. I also got the opportunity to work at Le Bonheur, like a bunch of different hospitals in the area, which are like, they're really well known. I think that the research experience and the clinical experience, if you're pre-health or pre-med, they're really useful.
Now you're from Memphis, so St. Jude and Le Bonheur were kind of maybe on your radar before. How did you get connected to those opportunities?
Yeah, so like I actually hadn't volunteered at Le Bonheur or St. Jude before I went to Rhodes, but I got connected through the health professions office here. They're really amazing. They really work with you to figure out what you're really interested in the medical field or in healthcare, and then you're able to do research on campus that kind of helps you get like you're not like a shoo-in, but like you basically get a lot of experience on campus doing research with faculty here, and then that they can help you write recommendations for you, and then you're able to go work in places like St. Jude, which is really amazing.
And I would like to highlight that like Rhodes and Memphis is such a like niche like group niche partner, if that makes sense, because I feel like in a lot of like bigger, larger cities, I didn't even realize this until like a little bit into Rhodes, but you don't really have as much access to opportunities. You kind of like compete with grad students, and so at Rhodes, it's awesome because like within Memphis area, there's so many awesome research opportunities and professional experiences, internships that like professors can connect you to, and you're like definitely a little bit, like not necessarily like shooting the door, but you definitely like have your you're definitely able to be in there compared to a lot of other students in different larger areas.
Yeah, the market is less saturated
Yeah,
with college students.
Yeah.
Yeah. Has anyone worked with career services and can talk about their experience?
I've worked fairly extensively with career services over the past few years now. So career services is a department that we have specifically designed to help students find postgraduate employment or whatever the opportunity may be it fellowships or whatever route they choose. And so
Or internships during your time.
internships during your time as well. And that's really helped me a lot. I remember the first internship they ever got me was out in a suburb called Cordova, where I was doing marketing work and analytics. And through that internship, and also with them helping me build a resume and helping me do mock job interviews and helping me basically answer any question that I could possibly have about what it's like to interview for a job and the process to get hired and all of those things, because a lot of them have experience hiring people and for other companies. There are a lot of them more recruiters and HR personnel. I was able to get an internship down in Pensacola Beach with Wells Fargo, which is definitely not a bad gig to have. So they've helped me immensely, and I could not be thankful enough for them, especially as a senior looking to make that next step.
Sure. Cool. No, I don't know what the percentages of students that have studied abroad in this room, but at Rhodes it's about 65% of students study abroad at some point during their time in college, and we're hoping that number actually increases because as of this year, we passed some new policies where everything that you get in terms of scholarship and financial aid follows you to your program abroad for a semester or for a school year. So do you all have any experiences that you can speak to or close friends' experiences? I don't think it's 65% in this room, but
Yeah, I can definitely speak to that. So I love study abroad. If y'all are watching this, you definitely like try and put that on your to-do list for college experiences, because I 100% recommend this. It's like soul searching experience, like individual experience, everything. And speaking to Rhodes, so my summer into sophomore year, I went and took one of my foundational credits abroad in Spain. And so I did art history and Spanish in Madrid, Spain. I stayed with a host mother there. Really? No way. So that was really awesome, completely new experience, and it was over the summer. And it wasn't through Rhodes, but Rhodes has a lot of main-semester programs that they offer that I also was looking into at the time, and they have so many other programs. But it wasn't because it wasn't through Rhodes. I went through, I think it was like the Buckman portal or whatever is online.
They connected you with a company.
And they connect you with like so many different outside like resources, and so it's honestly like the world is literally your oyster with study abroad. And then my second year, I did an internship abroad, so I actually did a public health internship through this one scholarship that I applied through. Which is through Rhodes, and I went to Nicaragua, and it was this like public health, global health research internship that also is going through Globe Med. So really awesome experience, and with Globe Med being on campus, it was really awesome that I was able to kind of like connect my study abroad experiences that was like an alternate reality to Rhodes College.
Okay, yeah. Well, yeah, so important to know, like, career services is there to help you get internships and jobs. We have a study abroad office, and they're there to connect you with study abroad opportunities, whether that be for a semester, a summer, a Maymester, like you mentioned, which are those 2 to 6 week programs where Rhodes professors take Rhodes students abroad, those internships, things like that. So studying abroad can be a little bit of an overwhelming or daunting process, especially if you're 19, 20 years old trying to figure this all out. So they're a great department. And yeah, like you said, if you go on our website, you can type in Dublin and it'll pop up with 9 different organizations that we partner with to send you to Dublin. So that's a really cool website to check out. So I want to keep on track and not go over time too much. So we've talked a lot about academics and professional opportunities, things like that. But what do y'all do for fun? Does everyone want to go around and say maybe one thing that they do for fun on campus, off campus?
I'll start. I'm a big basketball fan, and I'm from Mobile, which has no basketball. So like being able to go watch Grizzlies games whenever I feel like I can afford it is great. Like, so I've been spending a lot of time, especially this year now that I have a car. I didn't have a car last year, but this year I have a car, so I've been going to a lot of Grizzlies games, which has been great for me because
Go Grizz.
yeah, because I watch basketball pretty much every night anyways. So being able to actually like have that experience of watching it live is great for me.
And the tickets could be pretty inexpensive.
I usually get tickets for about like $6-7,
Okay.
which isn't bad.
That's not the big deal. The big deal.
Well, and also occasionally Rhodes will offer tickets to students that are really cheap. Those are like $2. Yeah, but
They go fast.
They
sell fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like.
but you have to get here at like 8:30 and they open at 8:30. So
Yeah.
but yeah,
2 weeks ago there was like Aladdin, and so I got there's this thing big deal like you were saying, and so I was able to go with a bunch of friends to Aladdin the musical for $5 tickets in Memphis to the OVM Theater, which was so cool. So,
Which is our off-Broadway theater. Pretty cool. What about on campus?
on campus, just spending time with friends. Honestly, I don't know. That's just kind of
What was the last programming that happened on campus that you went to or loved or?
Probably an admissions one, but I'm being honest.
We didn't pay him to say that. We just had Battle of the Bands, which is cool.
We did, but I could not go. I was busy. But yeah, we also have Rites of Spring, which won't happen this year, unfortunately, which makes me sad. But which is a concert that we throw every year in the spring, usually like mid to late April, where we bring in a big artist. I know this year it was supposed to be Black, but got canceled because of this whole situation. But yeah, so just have fun stuff like that. That's always RAB, our Rhodes Activities Board, does a good job of like always having stuff going on, like at least every other weekend for students to like participate in and show up for and have a good time.
For me, on campus, I do a lot of just, I socialize a lot with the track team just because that's sort of the circle of friends that I naturally find myself in because we spend so much time together training. But off campus, I'm a big coffee shop guy. So I like to,
Did not know that about you.
yes. So I like to go and find different coffee shops that I find interesting around the city. It's a great time. There are a lot of very interesting ones that have lots of little fun quirks about them. So I would definitely recommend it.
That is so true.
Did
I
not know
had
that
no
about you.
idea.
That is so true.
Yes. The coffee shop scene in Memphis is amazing. Love that. But also for me, I think the last like programming that I really liked. So RAP did this like paint with Bob Ross event, and they just had like canvases, and we all like sat around painting and like sipping like sparkling cider. It was really fun and weird, but also really cool. So really enjoyed that. And then with just like off-campus stuff, I also like go to like the Orpheum Theater. Those was really fun. There was Big Deal also does this. I think one year I went to St. Louis with for like $20. Like it was like all expenses paid for $20. Like you just like go for it was like one of the breaks, and that was really cool because I'd never been to St. Louis, and like that was just really cool to me. Going with like 20 other college students and just hanging out, it was really awesome. And one thing that was memorable with that experience was there's like this adult museum playground thing that Rhodes knew about that I would never have gone by myself, so that was really cool too.
That was awesome. Yeah, you guys mentioned some really great ones. I second that for sure. And I was gonna say, I'm gonna emphasize like cultural organizations on campus. We have such an amazing like group of cultural organizations, and they're all such like close, tight knit communities, and they offer such amazing events. Like one that happened last year, and I don't think it's gonna happen this year again because of coronavirus, but is Holi. So Holi is something that I look forward to every single year because if y'all know what it is, it's kind of like this South Asian festival of colors, and it's around the area where we also host Rites of Spring, and it's going to be outside, and everyone's like running around with colors and like music, and everyone's invited. And so it's like one of those events that I like to emphasize because it's so fun and like quirky and everything, but everyone's invited too, so it's like such like an emphasis of like the Rhodes community. But yeah, culture events. And another one that you mentioned like earlier was an Asia event, Lunar New Year, which is so good. It's in the BCLC, which is one of the buildings on campus. And everybody comes too, like professors are invited, so it's so awesome to like be dancing or like sit down and like see some of your friends on there on stage. And everyone, it's like all student led, so like they had organized everything, catered the food, do all the work behind the scenes. So those are beautiful events.
So Mainly on campus, I'm extremely involved in my Greek organization. So I'm in a sorority on campus, and we do a lot of events where I'm getting together with other sisters and having a girls' night, and we're decorating cookies and watching movies and doing all the fun things. And then off campus, I'd have to say we actually go to brunch a lot. There's so many good brunch places, and honestly, just hanging out with friends is one of the best things to do in my free time.
So that's a good transition. So about 50% of our campus is involved in Greek life. And we have, if you were to take a tour, we have houses on campus, but they're non-residential, so they're more of like meeting spaces. We have 6 IFC fraternities, 4 pan sororities. I shouldn't have started this because now I'm thinking of the numbers. And a couple NPHC fraternities and sororities, a Latinx sorority. So lots of cool stuff going on in terms of Greek life. I know some of you all are Greek, some of you all are not. So can you speak to what the process of rushing is like, what your experience has been like in Greek life, and then for those of you who are not, what that experience has been like too?
Yeah. So I'm a Sigma Nu, and so when you first come on campus, rush is deferred until spring semester for all first-year students. So there's no pressure to get in here and then join some sort of social organization. You get to just acclimate yourself to college, find your group of friends naturally, and then once you've settled in, you can start making all of those decisions. And so my experience in Greek life here, it's not like you would get at state school. It's very calm. It's very organized. It's not supposed to define you. When you walk around and you meet people, the first thing you hear is, "Hi, my name is this." It's not, "Hi, my name is this. I'm in this organization." "Hi, my name is this. I'm in this organization." It's very much a part of you and it's a part of your experience, but it does not define your experience. And so you're never secluded from the rest of the students. You do not live in the houses. They're meeting spaces only. It's all set up to encourage you to go out and meet other people who may or may not be Greek, and to foster a bridge between students regardless of what organization they're in.
One thing that I really appreciated is the spring recruitment, because you get to cultivate these friends outside of organizations, and then not everyone, but you get to meet so many people before you go through recruitment, and so then everyone gets in all these different houses, and you're still friends. It's not like you suddenly don't talk to them anymore. Everyone knows everyone. I have pan sisters all over, and it does not matter what sorority they're in or what is going on. There's so much Panhellenic love between each of the sororities, and it's great to see. It's one of my favorite things.
I chose not to join a fraternity, and I think I don't regret that decision, because I think the fraternities and sororities do a good job of keeping events open to everybody. So if you do want to go to an event, go to a fundraiser or something like that, it's always an opportunity. You don't feel secluded if you aren't part of it, and then if you're not in it, obviously you don't get the close knit friend group that comes with that. But like they said, you make your friends when you first get here, and then me and my friends chose not to join, and I haven't regretted it. And I still have those friends. I had some friends that joined, and I still talk to them every day. So it's really about having that open and non-exclusive community. And I think the community of Rhodes itself outweighs any individual community. And plus there's so many clubs and stuff to get involved with that you don't feel like you need to be in a fraternity or sorority.
Okay, awesome. Well, we are running out of time, so I have 2 more rapid fire rounds. The first is restaurant recommendation within a student's budget. Within a student's budget, if they were visiting and they were in your shoes and they had your budget, where are they going to eat?
Okay, well, see, I'm saving up to do this. It's not too
You only
expensive.
get to pick one.
Yeah, it's rapid.
Okay, barbecue shop, best barbecue in the world.
Okay. Well, what would be your reach?
It is controversial.
What would be your reach?
My reach?
Your fancier.
Oh, that's the one. That's
Oh, that's okay.
It's because I get a rack of ribs, so
The bigger order
this
than
is
you might
this is
normally
a save up for
Yeah.
a big time with
A
a
big
bunch
night
of people. Yeah.
Okay, it's a barbecue shop.
For me, I love Japanese food, so my go-to is Robata. It's in Overton Square. They have the best ramen and rice dishes around.
Learning a lot about Keith in this session.
Yes,
Yeah.
me too. I definitely have to say Fabin, because it's so you can. It's very affordable and it's amazing, and you can take more home, so it's really good.
Casablanca for sure. Oh my gosh, that place is amazing. Mediterranean food, kind of rapid fire, and
Yeah.
the manager's so sweet. I've been there like so many times, and almost every other time he's like giving us free dessert. So go.
I don't know if he just does that for everyone or just for Rhodes people, because when we go, we also get free dessert. So I don't know if he's just nice or it's a Rhodes thing. Or
Yeah, I could play that.
Yeah. I'd have to say brunch place, Edge Alley. It's really good. They have amazing biscuits. And then Central Barbecue, Central is like the spot. Like I went to Central, I think 3 times.
I like it. Don't look at me. I like the place.
I was like a prospective student. I think I went 3 times. It was so good.
yeah, pulled pork I think is great at Central if you're looking for ribs.
Yeah,
Or-
for sure.
Would
I
be
mean,
barbecue
Food
shop
Network said that barbecue shop has the best ribs in the world, so
or Ronnie.
Yeah.
I gotta plug that.
Yeah, so most of our students are hanging out in this sort of midtown area where we are in Memphis. It's a super artsy, kind of family-friendly area of the city where it's a lot of locally owned shops and restaurants. So typically students are hanging out in the Overton Square area of Midtown, which is about 5 minutes away. They're hanging out at Overton Park, which is across the street where the zoo is, the Levitt Shell concert venue, the Brooks Museum of Art, things like that. And then beyond Overton Square is the Cooper Young District, which is much more like artsy, kind of hipstery. Muddy's Bake Shop, best cupcake bake shop you can go to, in my opinion, and other restaurants, things like that. Memphis is a very foodie city, so ask any student when you're on campus what their favorite place to go to is to get some ideas. And then if they're not hanging out in Midtown, they're hanging out downtown usually, which is if you take a right out of campus, about a 10-minute drive, and that's where Beale Street is, the FedEx Forum where the Grizzlies play. What else? The Mississippi River, the Orpheum Theater, the Civil Rights Museum, which is an incredible museum. So lots of stuff going on. So if you're planning on visiting campus, feel free to reach out to your admission counselor and they can send you their favorite things to do in the city, and that might give you some ideas. But the last thing before we let you all go and enjoy your day, and I can kind of start it off if you need a second to think, but we may be talking to juniors, we may be talking to seniors, sophomores, parents. So what word of advice would you all give to high school students throughout their college search?
I've always said this, and I tell people this every time. Go and visit the schools, because you won't know what the community's like until you're there. Because everyone is going to tell you that their community is good. We're all going to do it. Every school's going to do it. But once you go on that campus and get a feel for yourself, don't just mark off all the check boxes and say, this is the things I'm looking for, this place has it. Go and feel, like, experience campus, because then you get to know what it's really like, you know, and like if you feel at home. Like I always say, like that's why I chose Rhodes, was because I felt at home, and you can't do that if you are on campus.
And make the most
Anyway.
of your visit. If you're
Yeah.
able to sit in on class, if you're able to meet with a professor like we offer here, do it if you can. My word of advice is to always be a little bit more open-minded. It's great to have a checklist of things that are important to you, but I remember visiting a school and they didn't have one student organization that I wanted to be a part of, and so I wrote it off the list. And you know, that doesn't make any sense. I could have started the organization, or they could be making one right now, you know, so keep an open mind as you're looking at schools as well. What about you guys?
My word of advice, and I've told this to everybody that I've ever personally spoke to while working for the admissions office, is watch the company you keep. You're going to have a lot of free time in college, more so than you can possibly imagine. And so associating with the right friend group, but a friend group that allows you to be versatile, that is open-minded, that allows you to be multifaceted, that's all going in the same direction that you were going. It doesn't necessarily have to be in terms of a career path, but in the general sense of I'm trying to improve myself every time I get the opportunity, will allow you to have the freedom to fail, but still learn from those failures and move forward instead of going down a path that you don't necessarily want to go down.
So pick good company as you're
Yes.
looking at schools.
Nice. I need more time. Oh my gosh.
I had one just now, and I was like really into what you were saying.
It's really good.
I was just, if you do get the opportunity to visit campuses, honestly talk to one of the students there. Like that's what I did, because I talked to a lot of Rhodes students, and so many of them, I don't know how I ran into like the best people, but I swear like they're all so personable. Everyone has something that they're passionate about, or like so driven, like you were talking about, Keith, like they're also driven trying to like improve themselves, that they always have something on their mind that they're going to, especially like during classes and whatnot, that they're going to be speaking about or speaking to. So definitely like talk to the students. You get kind of like a vibe for what student life is like, and what you might be involved in when you're here.
And if you get a tour guide that maybe isn't your vibe, they're not the only person on campus. So definitely go out of your way to meet someone else.
Yeah, I would definitely second that. Visiting Rhodes and then visiting any college and talking with their students, and seeing what their relationship is like with their professors is interesting because if those are the people that are teaching you and they're giving you the knowledge and the resources to be able to learn and get a broader sense of knowledge. And I think it's extremely important that students have somewhat of a relationship with their professors where they're not just, teaching the information to themselves and not going to class. I think it's really important that I think it's a highlight of Rhodes that we have a lot of really great professors, that all of us probably have a couple of professors that we can name off the top of our head that were they were amazing. They changed my perspective on something. And I think that's a really important perspective on how you should look at colleges, what the professors are like, and are they willing to help and be accessible.
All right, well, I think we're going to go ahead and close it out there. Thank you all so much for taking time out of your day to be here. I don't know in what format or what platform we're sending this out on, but I'll let you all know. But we hope this has kind of sparked an interest in Rhodes. Hopefully you all are interested in maybe scheduling a visit or an interview. If you go on rhodes.edu, there are a bunch of different ways. It'll show you how to schedule a visit. We have a map of the country where you can find out who works with students from your area of the country, reach out to them about scheduling an interview. Something like that. But thank you all for tuning in, and we hope you continue to consider Rhodes. Thanks.